All right, ready for a deep dive into a story that blends sports and, well, maybe espionage.
Sounds intriguing.
We're talking about Alice Marble, tennis star,
Hmm.
possibly a spy.
Yeah. And get this, we're looking at excerpts from a historical fiction novel, but it's inspired by Alice's actual memoir.
So like a blend of truth and storytelling.
Exactly. And I think it'll make you want to dig into the full story even more. We're going to uncover like her rise to tennis fame, the challenges she
And
faced.
those hints about being a spy during World War II.
Okay, so picture this, 1920 San Francisco. Alice is this young girl, loves all kinds of sports, and then boom, discovers tennis at 15.
And just takes off,
Yeah,
right?
totally. But there's this crazy story from 1933. She plays 108 games in one day.
Wait, seriously, 108.
Multiple tournaments back to back under the California sun. It's wild, but it shows how tough she was.
And that drive, right, like pushing herself even when it's risky, that kind of seems like a theme in her life.
You got it. So talent, check. Dedication, check. But what really set Alice apart was her style. On the court, off the court. Think 1930s. Women are playing tennis in those long skirts.
Yeah, I've seen pictures.
And Alice shows up in shorts.
Bold move.
Totally. It was almost scandalous, but it wasn't just about fashion. She started using this serve and volley style.
Which is, sorry, not a tennis expert here.
No worries. It's basically being super aggressive, serve with power, rush the net, volley before your opponent can even react. It was seen as like a man's way to play.
So the shorts were practical, but also like a statement.
Definitely. Challenging those norms. But then, 1934, she gets diagnosed with tuberculosis.
Oh, wow. That was a serious illness back then.
Big time. Usually meant lots of rest. For an athlete at her peak, could have been the end.
But knowing Alice, I bet that's not what happened.
Nope. She battles back, returns to tennis, and in 1939, Wimbledon champion.
Talk about a comeback.
Total movie material, right. But just as she hits this high point, boom, World War II starts, tennis stops, everything changes.
And Alice needs to find a new purpose.
Exactly. And that's when the spy stuff starts to, like, simmer. There's this meeting with a Colonel Linden. He kind of hints that Alice has special skills.
Skills that would be useful for the war effort.
Yeah. Super secretive. The author doesn't give us everything, but it's pretty clear Alice might be stepping into the world of espionage.
Okay, so already a wild ride. But then there's her personal life. The novel gets into her marriage to Joe Crowley. He was a soldier.
Right. And then there's Hans Steinmetz, Swiss banker.
And they had a pretty intense affair.
Yeah, and this is where the spy stuff gets more interesting. Switzerland was neutral during the war, but there are whispers about Hans, like maybe he's connected to the Nazis.
Okay, now I see where this is going.
It's like a web, right? Love, war, maybe espionage. And Alice is right in the middle of it.
Definitely makes you wonder, what choices did she have to make? What risks did she take? And how did all this change her? I'm hooked already.
So many layers to the story, right? Her personal life, maybe being a spy, World War II happening all around.
Yeah, it's like, where do you even start? Was her marriage to Joe real? Or was it all like for cover, to protect her if she was a spy?
Good question. And what about Hans? Just a romantic thing? Or did she get pulled into something, well, more dangerous because of him?
And we can't forget, like, the world was falling apart. It makes sense that Alice would want to do something to help.
Absolutely. She was involved in promoting fitness for the Office of Civilian Defense, encouraging women to be active, prepared.
Which even back then was kind of a big deal, right? Women weren't always expected to, be strong and athletic.
Exactly. So was that genuine? Or was it like a cover for other stuff? The novel keeps you guessing.
And then she loses a child during all of this. Just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's a reminder that this isn't just like a fun spy story. There's real loss, real pain underneath.
And she still keeps going. Then the novel, it really shifts gears when Alice is sent to Switzerland.
That's where the spy stuff gets real. We see her using everything, her athleticism, how fast she thinks, how she can blend in.
And it's so different from tennis.
Yeah,
But that same drive is there.
Totally. There's this one scene, she has to play a tennis match, but she has a torn stomach muscle.
Ouch.
Right. But the stakes are so high, she pushes through it. I think it shows how the author ties her two worlds together.
Like tennis was almost training for this.
Yeah.
Focus, strategy.
Exactly. And then there's Teach. Their whole dynamic, so complicated. Mentorship, but also almost controlling at times.
Oh, I picked up on that.
And it all comes to a head when Alice goes to Switzerland, even though Teach doesn't want her to. Like Alice is making her own choices, even if they're risky,
Switzerland feels like a turning point. She really leans into this double life.
and faces the tough parts of war. She has to lie to people she cares about, make hard choices.
And seeing her with Hans again, so much tension.
Oh, yeah, you can feel the history there, the love, maybe some resentment, like a missed chance, and then, boom, the novel hits you with this twist.
Alice finds out about Hans.
Yeah, he's involved with the Nazis.
Wow. I did not see that coming.
It's like everything she believed shattered. But it also shows her strength. She puts her feelings aside, focuses on the mission, even though it means betraying someone.
And from there, it's nonstop. Alice is trying to get proof, get out of Switzerland. It's intense.
Classic spy thriller, right? But what grabs you is that it's Alice's story. She's not like a superhero. She's dealing with loss, betrayal. It feels real.
And in the end, she pulls it off. She finishes the mission. But, she's not the same.
Yeah, the novel doesn't wrap everything up perfectly. It makes you think, what did this cost Alice? What did she sacrifice? Coming back from something like that, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and the novel really digs into that, rebuilding her life, dealing with all the loss.
The betrayal from Hans, too, that's a lot to process.
And all the psychological stuff, right? The
Yeah.
secrecy, the danger. It changes you.
Definitely. But what gets me is Alice's strength. She never gives up that fight.
She finds comfort in tennis, in writing, connecting with other women who get it, who've been through tough stuff too.
There's this part in the novel, Alice becomes an editor for a comic book series.
Wait, seriously? Comics?
Yeah, it's called Wonder Women of History. She's writing about, inspiring women, their courage, what they achieved.
So she's using her platform to help other women.
Yeah, she's lifting them up. I wonder if it was because of the war, seeing the Nazis, how strong women were during that time.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And it's so inspiring. Even after all that darkness, she finds a way to make something good happen.
Right. It shows we have a choice. Let the tough stuff break us, or let it make us stronger. And Alice, she definitely chose to be strong, using her voice, her experiences to fight for a better world.
The novel ends with her being inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's
It's
fun.
such a great moment.
It feels like not just about her tennis career, but everything she went through, a testament to her strength.
Yeah, like the author saying, look at all this she did. Despite everything. She broke barriers, she defied expectations. It's an amazing life.
So what do you think? What's the big takeaway from Alice Marble's story?
For me, it's that, even ordinary people can be incredibly strong. We all have the potential,
Yeah.
to overcome stuff, to make a difference.
And that history is made up of all these individual stories, of courage, of sacrifice, and honestly, sometimes those stories are more gripping than anything we could dream up.
Definitely agree with that.
I hope this deep dive makes you curious about Alice Marble. Her story is one that needs to be told. And this novel, it's such a fascinating look into her life, all the complexities. If you want a book that'll stick with you, this is it.
Here's something to think about. If a tennis champion can have this secret life, a spy during World War II, what does that say about us? What hidden depths do we all have? What amazing stories are waiting to be discovered? And how strong are we, really?